All right, welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Calhoun's. The Vols are back at home on Saturday, and if you are planning to tailgate, be sure to order and pick up a terrific Feed 5 or Feed 10 family pack like this. Barbecue, bottles of sauce, slaw, beans, buns, plates. They literally pack your picnic basket for you. So if you're tailgating next week, just try it once. You'll do it from now on. Calhoun's and the Feed 5 or Feed 10 family packs. It's great. All right. Want to welcome in the next member of our panel way down there at that end of the table. We got Chuck Cavaleris. Chuck, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I am going to start with you and Mr. Himes right now. This is one of our two hot read segments today. So each pairing gets a question. Got about a minute and a half on this. Josh Dobbs became UT's all-time leading rusher at the quarterback position yesterday, passing Holloway, Streeter, Schuler, Martin. I mean, he's number one. With his runs, with his big plays, if we have this stat, let's go ahead and put up his stat line. There we go. 14 rushes, 106 yards on the ground, 2 rushing touchdowns, both of them very nice. 10 of 19 through the air, just 91 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, 1 interception, all-time leading rusher. Guys, people keep waiting for him to develop as a passer. But you saw yesterday why he's your starter. You saw he doesn't make plays with the arm as much as he makes them with the legs. 2 of those passes, you got to give credit to the receivers for going out and making plays, which I've been calling for. They did it. But you saw why he's the starter yesterday with those legs, did you not, Chuck?
Oh, yes.
I mean, that's the whole bang for him.
Well, I mean, and we kind of criticize that it's not a true zone read a lot of times, but he's a dual threat quarterback, and he is your best solution for that offense. Really is. I mean, it's just
dual threat,
obvious.
meaning he can run inside and outside.
Yes.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. LSU would kill to have a quarterback that can throw as well as Josh Dobbs. But
they bench that guy.
Yeah, his strength will always be the run game. Jimmy, do you think it's been such a focus all offseason? There was a lot of complaining yesterday, whereas this same kind of game a year ago, 5 touchdowns out of this guy. He's making the great runs and everything. He escapes the pocket for that 3rd touchdown pass. I think he gets more praise last year for this very same game than he's getting now because I think everyone focuses now on that passing game so much. Do you think that it has shifted now to where people used to appreciate those runs and now it's you better be able to throw the ball, guy?
I do, and I think some of it is trying to look ahead and say, well, can you beat Florida doing this? Can you beat Alabama doing this? Can you beat these teams? You have to be a better passing team to reach the next level to win an East Division title, to win the SEC. I thought it was interesting last night. I think this came from ESPNstat.com. Tennessee had 183 yards in the zone read last night. They had 30 in the first game out of the zone read. So when he's running it and when he's effective, I think it helps his overall game. But that's what he is. He's a guy that can run the ball. He's more effective with his legs than he is as a passer. He can still make plays in the passing game, and he did put the ball in position for Jennings to make a catch and for Malone to make a catch. But he's not going to dazzle you with 350-yard passing games. That's not who he is.
You hit on something, that same stat line that I saw that as well, 183 yards in the zone read, 50 more than they averaged last year out of the zone read, and they led the SEC in zone read yardage last season.
Right.
I think that tells us something, guys, and I'm going to talk to you two, Will and Bob, about play calling. Everybody, if you're anywhere in a college football town right now, people are complaining about play calling. That's why I hate doing it on the show, because it's the low-hanging fruit that everybody does. But when you look at the fact they only threw 19 passes yesterday, they averaged 28 per game last year, 19 yesterday. You're running more of the zone read. You were keeping 4 guys into block, even against 4-man rushes and 3-man rushes, and it still didn't work at times. This play selection seems to be acknowledging, oh, God, we have no offensive line, not enough to pass. We don't trust Dobbs throwing the ball. So my question, is the play calling what's setting up the offense to look bad, or is it more a case of that offensive line and the passing game handcuffs you in terms of what you can call?
I think you're handcuffed with what you can call. I didn't have a big problem with the play calling yesterday. I mean, I would have had a bigger problem if you'd have kept dropping him back on 7-step drops and dropping him back and nothing's happened. I think Dobbs thinks too much when he's looking down the field with the football. I think he sits there and it's just something in his brain just locks up. But I did not have a problem with the play calling. I mean, it's the old thing. If Josh Smith makes a block on that first pass to Alvin Kamara, he might score. but instead you miss a block so he loses yardage. Well, that's a terrible play call. No, good call, bad block.
Well, you know, I think the other thing is, what's he thinking about? You say he locks in, he locks up that guy's about to earhole him coming around the edge. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, the play calling is limited by this offensive line. There's no doubt about it. If you want to throw a deep ball, you got to run two-man routes, and that's it. You got to keep everybody else in the block. That's it. That's all you have.
And you
the
still
ability
get him
to
hit.
And you still can get him hit. So I think overall, this team is, which is good. I mean, you want the coaching staff to at least acknowledge what you are and what you not are, what you can't be. I mean, if they kept dropping him back, then you'd be like, these guys obviously cannot understand what their team is not.
And see, that's the irony of it. I think they did make adjustments last night to their play calling by what they're seeing, and yet, well, they're too conservative. They have to be. I think in this situation, now over the course of the season, hopefully they'll figure out some things that can improve that offensive line and allow them to do more things. But right now, I don't know what else you can call when Dobbs is throwing an interception over the middle. Like late in the fourth quarter, they had thrown the interception. They come back, it's 3rd and long. He just dumps it off the herd for a 1-yard pass. They need 8. And then they punt, and Virginia Tech fumbles the punt. So going conservative was the right thing. But there were people saying, well, how conservative that call is. Well, with that offensive line, Dobbs has just thrown a pick across the middle. I got news for you. I'm not calling some crossing pattern there either. I'm not calling for a pass play. I'm playing conservative at that point.
I thought one answer to helping your offensive line was getting it out on the perimeter, so then your wide receivers miss blocks.
Yeah, and then
When
I
they-
wonder,
well,
did anybody
when they-
else wonder at some time, do you not look at doing tighter splits? You know, aren't you inviting the defensive linemen to get through
But at
there?
some point, isn't that your offense?
Well,
So-
number
Yeah,
4 on the edge there, if you got tighter splits, you give, instead of getting there in 2.2 seconds, he
You're
gets there in
there-
1.5 seconds.
And I was thinking, gosh, line up a little bit deeper in the shotgun.
All right, let's see here. What was I going to? I was going to tell one more thing here. I know what it was. Receivers. I've been saying make plays. Jennings, who I would keep on the field with Smith at all times. They would only come off the field if they begged off. Stop with the rotation on those guys. Leave them out there. Jennings made a great play. Malone made another good play in the end zone. A couple of jump balls, but they took it away, wrestled it away. Kudos to the wide receivers. All right, when we come back, joined by Sterling Hinton, David Ligon, some of these guys will remain on the panel. And we got 2 more big questions. We are going to talk about the offensive line a little bit more. What's the relationship between quarterback and offensive line at this point when they're getting their quarterback killed? And then also defense. Some numbers on Bob Shoop's defense versus the run that are scary heading into SEC play. Come on back.